What's up, everybody? It's EK back with another episode of the Devy Dose, and we've got a very special one for you all tonight. I got some of my good friends and some Dynasty superstars on here with us for a live mock for your entertainment and edification. You might already know my friend Mike Finaro in the bottom left. Mike, how's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. This should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Where can the people find you? What are you plugging?
Yeah, mainly the podcast we've had for 5 years, Rookie Fever. We cover rookies all year long. So we haven't even we've done all our rookie profiles. We have still probably another 8 or 9 of those to come out, and that's when we officially roll the calendar over to 2023. We're still on our main show talking about those 2022 rookies, which are really not really rookies officially anymore. But when you're talking about rookies all year long, you tend to hang on to that previous class for just a bit.
You guys got to stay on brand. And I gotta say, it is one of the best podcasts out there. It's one of the only ones in my normal rotation. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And then we got my good friend Snoog down here. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Eric. It's a good time. We've been shooting back and forth in the DMs, talking about finally getting on together, and I'm excited to draft some rookies with some fellow Twitter guys. So you can follow me at FF Snoog on Twitter, constantly posting rookie threads, prospect threads, Devy stuff, how to become a better dynasty player and stuff like that. So
yeah, right on, man. Thanks so much for coming on. We're stoked to have you. And my frequent co-pilot, Kyle at KL Fantasy. Say what's up, Kyle.
Wait, we're starting? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, we're live.
Hold on. Who are the prospects? Wait, who's playing quarterback? Oh, Hendon Hooker.
Oh, he's kidding, but not really. So
you'll never know. You'll never know.
So yeah, I want to take a couple of seconds and just see if there's anything you guys were really interested in to see what happens in this mock, or if you have any general strategies this year you're going into. So maybe Mike, you want to lead off?
Yeah, the big thing I do this time of year, and it carries over actually after the draft actually kicks off. Maybe this gets validated, to be quite honest, but I do a lot of digging into actual NFL mocks. And when I say digging, I mean I want to see who we on Twitter aren't talking about that are being drafted early in these mocks. And that's how I found Dameon Pierce last year. He was mocked much higher than people were talking to him. So I started looking into him more, and I realized it was a small sample size. So there's always a reason why we in Twitter maybe don't want to talk about a guy or two. And I feel like if the NFL puts him in these early mocks, because these mocks, most of them are 2, 3, tops 4 rounds. So you're getting that cream of the crop, that top 100, the top 150. So I tend to look at those, I think, a little closer than most people to try to dig into prospects that every podcast isn't talking about, right? What are the guys that are a little bit off the radar that are actually going to get draft capital, not sleepers, guys that are getting picked in the 2nd or 3rd round of the NFL draft that we're not talking enough about. That's kind of what I do this time of year.
Yeah, I love it. How about you, Snoog? You got anything particular you're excited about for this draft?
Yeah, hopefully I can leave every draft with Jackson Smith and Jigba, my favorite player in this class. But
I see you picked the 105.
Yeah, that's hopefully where I can snag them. But basically, I'm going to try to just maneuver my way through the drafts, move back if I can, kind of read the league that I'm in, and try to get a big plus on top, because I'm willing to take them pretty high. But if I can get them at the 105, 106 turn, I'll do that all day. So. And then I'm going to hunt value running back guys like my favorite Zach Evans and Kendre Miller, hopefully in the mid to late second. I've been seeing them fall there, and that's a dream spot for me to land those guys. I'll have 100% ownership if that's the case, but just hunting values and drafting my guys.
Yeah. I think this is going to look really, really different after the NFL draft.
It always does.
If Kendre Miller gets round 2 draft capital, he ain't going to be there at the 208, 209 anymore. We all know that. So, but it's certainly a fun exercise to do it in this phase of the season. Kyle, have you done any mocks so far? Who are you interested in for prospects here?
I want to see where the quarterbacks go in Superflex. That's just what I'm curious about. I think quarterback in Superflex is a big advantage over running back, and I think this is a class that really tests that theory. And I'm really interested to see what happens, at the top of the draft and across ADP and whatnot.
Yeah, loving it, man. And I think there's going to be some variance in that from league to league, and probably after the NFL draft too. I mean, it sounds like Levis's top 10 status is more in question than it was for the hype machine a few weeks ago. So yeah, lots of exciting narratives that go on here. I mean, for me, what I'm excited to see right now, and I've done a bunch of these already. I've done some real live drafts in some of my leagues where we're all degenerates and we want the masochistic pain of like having drafted a guy at 201 that then is a day 3 pick. Izzy Abanaconda went at like 212 or something in that draft, 301. I don't think that's going to happen here tonight. And then Zach Evans is one of the other really interesting storylines for me. I mean, he's been many people's RB2, RB3. He's been in that range for me as well. And man, I got questions now. You came in at 202. Okay, you're still, a great runner. Now you ran a 4.5 at a pro day, which is really like a 4.55. And, that wouldn't be a killer for me if you were 215, but 202, 4.55, just the hits are adding up. And I feel like the NFL might care. I still think he can run the ball, but, if he is pick number 112, I'm going to have a hard time taking him where I want to in these drafts. So, all right, I think we're good. Let's fire this up. I know we got 7 other guys in here, 8 other guys in here that are eager to make some picks. So, fair enough with my friend Keegan. What's up? What are you doing with the 101? I'm excited. Any of you guys taking anyone other than Bijan at the 101?
No.
Yes.
I think probably not.
So deep rebuild. Your team sucks. You got one quarterback. You're still taking Bijan.
Trade back.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an easy trade back because
Done
he's
with
worth
that
a haul.
scenario.
He's worth a haul. Don't pick the quarterback at 101. Slide back.
Yeah. I offered my friend David, who has the 102 in that league, David Gauteri, the Guru Wild guy.
Mm-hmm.
I offered him the 101 and Bateman for the 102. You guys think that's a good offer?
What was it? Sorry, I missed it.
Repeat
I offered
that.
him the 101 for Rashad Bateman and the 102.
Yeah.
I like Bateman. I think he's undervalued.
That's a good offer. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would take that.
Yeah. I don't know I'm going to get a lot more than that trading back or a better quarterback selling him, after the draft.
Here's kind of my issue is that, if we fast forward a year and Stroud hits and he's a top 12 dynasty quarterback, he's more valuable than Bijan.
Yep.
He's already
even if Bijan's RB1, like what?
I agree.
He's already
So
being valued as one though.
Yeah. I see you took Stroud at 102 over Young and Richardson. You're just that high on him, Kyle, or is that what you think?
No, that's just easy. I think Stroud is phasing, is like all the signs are pointing to him being the first pick off the board rather than Young. And he's not, 5 foot something.
God, this is exactly where I didn't want to be. I have such a hard time taking QJ here. But I almost have to.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
The upside if he hits is just more than Flowers, but it's such a projection for him to hit. I gotta do it. I'm probably gonna do that 6 times out of 12, and the other 6 I'll just take Flowers.
What do we think of Charbonnet as RB3 off the board?
I can see
Yeah,
that.
that's where I am.
That's where I am.
Yeah, he's like my 3-4. He's probably gonna end up my 3.
Yeah.
He's a very safe pick, I think. I like him at the 110 a lot too. I see people taking him like 106, 107. I don't like that. I'll take him
that's a little aggressive.
Anywhere after 109. I'd rather just trade that pick for a very good dynasty back. at that
Yeah.
point. You know what I mean?
What do you guys think about Downs going ahead of QJ? You think that's going to be consensus soon, or do you think that's a
No.
reach?
No, I don't think it's a reach either, but it's not going to be consensus.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. You guys would all rather have QJ, the three of you.
I think Quentin Johnston's a lock for like a top 20-ish pick. So I just think, and he has so much upside. I just think he's the guy to take over Addison and Downs. But Addison and Downs have a safer floor for sure. Both top 5 guys.
I love Josh Downs. There's just so much ceiling with QJ.
Yeah, exactly. That's my same thought process.
Yeah, Downs reminds me of the guy that just like he's going to be a really good NFL player that is going to be really good on your fantasy team. You'll start him every week, that kind of thing. But it's never this, like you said, the ceiling is probably limited there, but it's still a really nice player.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if any of those guys busts, though, it's definitely Quentin Johnston. Like he's got real things he needs to work on.
Yeah, I agree.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex arm things is real. The lack of compete at the catch point is real. Those are big problems, man. I mean, he could have a hard time getting on the field if that's what he's putting out there in practice. I think that's a real concern.
Yeah, like all these players, landing spot's going to be really interesting. Like, you know, are they going to have to use them even, you know, through that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely going to have highly invested in him, right? And have a lot of pressure to put him out there.
I was wondering, like, if he goes to a team like the Giants, because they're looking for that prototypical wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then as a Giants fan, I'm like, do I want that? Like one day I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I want that. And then the next day I'm like, no, just pick something safer. We need like a bona fide wide receiver.
I thought you guys
There's your Kendrick Miller.
Wow.
All gone.
He heard you talking about him, dude.
Bad. Is this a tight end premium or no? Like, should we
figure tight end premium.
Do I really want to take a rookie tight end right now, though?
It's not fun. That is the question at this point in the draft for sure. Mike, I think you guys are only allowed to have slot receivers on your team.
I know, right? Yeah.
Isaiah Hodgins is the mold breaker. He's the one who's going to be
the only
one.
I'm going with the dude.
Don't care about the 40 time. Give me Evans. I love it.
He's too talented.
All right. I agree. I'm just terrified that he falls to day 3 now.
I'm fine with missing out on him at the 205, though. Or like, I'll probably be able to get him late second in most rookie drafts. I'm okay with missing out on that pick with what his upside is. So who am I going to get with that pick in terms of like NFL value, like Brian Robinson or something, some scrub. So
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Or like, in Aaron Jones or something, if you're trying to go for veterans. Kincaid,
I almost took Kincaid. I was going to take Kincaid.
I love it. He's a baller.
Man, it's a mock. If you're not going to do it in a mock, then you know.
I was so close to taking Kincaid, but I was like, nah, I'll just take him.
It felt good after the stink of Will Levis.
We did just brush over that, like.
You sure did.
Behind
I have to go with the information I have now, and he seems like he is a good chance of being like a top 15 pick. So I'm just going to sit there for now. I'll change my opinion as soon as it's wrong.
He's sliding.
Do you like the prospect in Levis, or you're just
I don't know. It's super flex, and he's the last bona fide QB, so I got to go there. Is
he though?
The way I look at it,
there you go.
That's at the 202.
That's an excellent point, Kyle.
The way I look at Levis is like, so think about like Kenny Pickett. Like he's definitely a better prospect than Pickett was. And Pickett held his value. Like he's like
Pickett's definitely held it.
So I don't mind the Levis pick in like the top 8. I would have definitely taken Gibbs there, but you guys see like that transformation of Levis from like, it was like, I think he said like 3 months. He looks like he was like on steroids, but
it's all that mayo in his coffee.
He has a hand and arm. He has such a big arm. He's intriguing for sure, but I haven't really dug too much into him. He's not my favorite, but
I'll say this too. I thought I scouted a bunch of his 2021 and 2022 games, and I really do think he improved a lot of things in 2022.
Yeah.
Just in terms of read, being a little more patient, getting to like later reads in his progression. But there is still a lot of moments where I was just like, "What the hell are you doing, man?"
Yeah.
Like when the O line fell apart, he started just doing like crazy stuff and making some really bad plays and. I don't know. I guess he's a guy that if he goes to some place that's set up for him to succeed, I could see him doing well. But if he goes to like a crappy team that's throwing him in the fire, he's gonna get strung up.
I could see that. Yeah.
Should I do like a mini flag plant with this pick because it's a mock?
Of course,
It's kind of
should, Kyle.
okay.
Especially if you got something to say.
Tyler Scott.
Yeah,
I am shocked you took him ahead of Tillman. You're a Tennessee guy. Tillman's still out there.
Tyler Scott. I came on this show, what, 3 months ago and said Tyler Scott's getting drafted?
Bryce, Boute. I'm probably taking Tillman over Boute.
Oh, no. If this is an actual draft, I'm taking Tillman.
Yeah,
But
I'm taking Tillman right now.
It's the mock little flag plant. Tyler Scott.
Tyler Scott's one of those guys that you're finding in NFL mocks that's being, it's higher than, and I think we're coming around now. As far as the community, like we're Tyler Scott's like actually now probably the popular name to drop because he's like the one that got forgotten. I don't think he's forgotten anymore. He used to be like really far down on sleeper too. So that I think that was bumping his ADP up. People were finding him.
Chase Brown or Tillman?
Yeah, I
remember when Scott was like 30% rostered on Fantrax, and I said you got to pick him up.
Yeah.
On this show,
if you knew about the Devy Dose last year, you were getting Tyler Scott.
Sniped me.
I was gonna go Brown.
Yeah, Tillman's an easy pick. I think Tillman needs to go like 212.
This is another guy the NFL seems to like more than we do. Rashawn Johnson.
Yeah.
Rashawn, yeah.
I don't really like him.
I can see it.
I like the size. When I'm in the third round, I want a running back that's actually the size of a running back should be. So
I think he's a lot. I think he'll be like a lot like Brian Robinson, kind of.
Yeah, you know what? I'm getting that vibe too.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So he'll have value, especially in the third round. But
yeah, I'll take him third round all day. I've been seeing him go like mid-second, early second, and I want to puke.
That's crazy. You said Brian Robinson because just the other day I was thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's
maybe because of the situation, right? Because Brian Robinson was behind a stud and Johnson's behind a stud, so it's probably not crazy that you and I had the same thought. But
they're both similar athletic wise too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think they both tested similar.
Both pretty big dudes.
Yeah. They're both like that 220, 6'1" plus. Yeah,
right.
That'll be
yet like not really like should be a bowling ball, but not quite a bowling ball. You know what I mean? Like should be mowing people over, but doesn't really mow people over.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things is why he's a third round guy,
Him and McBride are the NFL seems to be so high on him and McBride. Like I see them getting mock day 2 in every single mock, and it blows my mind.
It's hard to ignore that though.
I don't know. Really on grinding the mocks, it has both of them as day 3 guys right now, but I don't know what the source material is for that. The only running backs that are day 2 in grinding the mocks were the top 3 guys and Zach Evans last time I looked.
I wanted Laporta.
Laporta's a great pick there.
Yeah, I wanted Laporta. He's so far down in this sleeper thing. I was like, I'm going to get Laporta in the 4th.
He's a good player. I like him over Musgrave.
I've taken Laporta in every 2023 thing I've done so far because I think he's as talented as any of those guys.
I agree.
He's awesome on a terrible Iowa offense.
Iowa has that resume too with tight ends.
Yeah, they sure do.
It's
hard to ignore that, man.
Yeah, which like don't scout the helmet, but the NFL does.
Is this where we think like tight ends in general should be going? Like where they have gone in the knock?
I wouldn't touch it. This
is where Meyer went later than he has in anything I've done so far. Usually he's around the 1-2 turn. Kincaid goes about then. Washington and Musgrave have consistently been third round picks for me, or like late second sometimes. I've seen people take Musgrave.
I really wanted A.T. Perry here, and somebody sniped me.
Yeah.
So
I love him, but he's just
X.
old.
Yeah, he is old.
X is good.
I'm
man.
not a fan of A.T. Perry that much. I like Jaden Reed in Washington better than him for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Reed's
Oh, I got sniped again, dude. What's going on?
This man is
boy
in your
Washington knows
head.
what's up.
I love that Deuce Vaughn value right there. I think there's zero chance Deuce Vaughn doesn't have a role at the next level. He's just so crafty. Like if Terry Cohen did, there's no way he won't.
Isn't he tiny as shit?
Yeah, but he's so much better of a pure runner than like Sproles and Cohen were, and he's a way better prospect than they were too. He has power for his size. Like he actually.
Yeah, he's going to be an interesting case. There's no way he gets day 2 capital, though. I just don't see it
No,
happening.
I don't think so either.
I think he'll be like a 4 or 5 round guy type.
Yeah.
Gut wants to go Washington, but like draft capital says Jaden Reed. I've seen him like as a 3rd round guy.
I've seen him as a 3rd round a lot as well.
I'm gonna go with Jaden Reed. He's growing on me a lot again. I liked him a lot. Michigan State low, so
He's had a good offseason. He looked good in the All-Star games, practices.
Yeah.
It's gotten some hype. I feel like Washington hasn't really been a riser like that. I loved Washington.
I love Washington.
college.
I like his film over Reed. I was gonna take him, but I've taken him in every mock, so I wanted to switch it up.
Yeah,
Nice.
Penn State is kind of like a sneaky wide receiver kind
Wide
of
receiver
farm as
you.
well. Yeah, like we talked about Iowa with Laporta. Like I feel like I don't know. I think we might be sleeping a little bit on Washington.
Dude, that game against Ohio State, he destroyed them. And it's all like these crazy athletic plays, like him just like, so a lot of these guys don't have like really crazy my ball mentality from this class.
Right.
Parker has that, and he's got rack ability too.
Were you guys around for like the Godwin rookie class? Like, was that I wasn't personally. I was.
Fanara was.
What year is that?
I think it's
Gosh,
18, 20.
Yeah.
That was like my first year playing Dynasty.
Was he like a primary slot coming out, Godwin?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
So you got Dotson, you got Godwin, you got Parker Washington, all kind of like those slot type, really good hands, good route runner.
Yep.
Just good at getting open. Those 3, honestly. And then you had Allen Robinson as well, who different type of player, but good school for wide.
Tank Dell.
4'11", I think that's wild value for Tank, even being a teeny tiny guy. He gets locked in the 3rd.
I wanted to pick Tank Dell at 502, but like I really also wanted to pick somebody else just because. So I'm glad you took him.
Just because.
There's a guy falling here that I hope I get so badly.
Sure
He's going at 504.
He's probably gonna.
Yeah.
It's nice.
We're all thinking about Tanner McKee.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Stetson Bennett at 4.7?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have DTR. I think DTR is going to be like a successful backup and be useful for fantasy when he's on the field. But I don't hate Stetson Bennett there. He's the kind of guy that could, get some spot fill-in games or try to have some, be a bridge quarterback for somebody.
His name's been popping up every once in a while for like teams like hell. I even heard him, which kind of perked my ears up a little bit. Like Jordan Love, like we'll get Bennett as well. Like that kind of a move where like he's behind a shaky guy. Like that would excite me a little bit.
Oh, come on, dude.
Jim, that's pretty funny.
Is that our first one?
No, Jim Tim timed out in the first 3 too, but then he popped up in the chat.
How did I miss that?
Probably
because I like the picks.
Yeah, I think he set a Q. Yeah, I love all those picks too. Though.
He did not. He didn't set a Q.
Palmer. Wasn't he like the fastest one in the combine, Palmer?
That was my second guy on my board right now.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, he had a monster year this year too, but again, got 4th or 5th year breakout, right?
He's the fastest wide receiver, 4.33.
Yeah.
This is like
Hence-
speed is like one of my like I call Tillman like my second chance at Quentin Johnson. Like a cheaper version of the prototypical wide receiver, where I feel like I could get him if I really want him because he's not going in the first, and he's pretty almost always going in the second somewhere.
Let's go.
Where in the fourth and fifth, I'll pick speed guys all day. I don't care about size anymore. I don't care about this is where I'm going for upside tight ends and non-tight end premium stats at running back pretty much everywhere. I don't care where, like, just as long as they're on a team. Like that's kind of what I'm doing down here, because I want to know what I have down here and not hold on to it on my roster, right? So wide receivers and like these quarterbacks that are going to wind up being like third on the depth chart. It's like you got to hold them for so long to know whether they were worth holding. Where a running back, I feel like after year one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Usually the last 3 rounds of as soon as the wide receivers are gone and the couple of tight ends, I just running backs typically.
What's wild is we got to the 5th round and there were 6 guys I wanted.
Yeah,
maybe I'm just a degenerate.
It happens every year. It'll be that way.
I like Wicks a lot.
I'm just a degenerate.
Tell me more about Wicks. I haven't dug into that profile.
So he basically had an insanely good year at Virginia, and then he regressed this past year, but I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL. So that's why he redshirted, and then he had a crazy good year. And he had 1,200 yards. He had a lot of touchdowns. He had insane yards in the 20s. And then he's just a really good vertical threat. He had a 40-inch vertical. He's a good jump ball, very good jump ball guy. He's a possessional guy, but he did insane at the Senior Bowl. I'm pretty sure he won Senior Bowl Player of the Week and stuff like that. He stood out a lot. He's a pretty good route runner, natural separator. He's a good sleeper. I like him a lot as a sleeper.
Yeah, I gotta say, usually I fade the crap out of these later round wide receivers. Just the hit rate on them doing something is so small.
Yeah,
I feel like they can turn into roster cloggers really easily. I mean, I kind of like it this time of year, right? Because there's a world where some of these guys all of a sudden find themselves to be top, 150 picks. But
they're fun.
I mean, how many? Go ahead.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're fun. How many really 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round wide receivers make an impact? KJ Osborne's, but
Stephon Diggs,
Amon-Ra.
Yeah, but Diggs is only that late because he
I
shredded his knee.
I know.
No, I agree with you. It's wide receivers are really tough.
Yeah.
I try to target them heavily when there's still the premium guys on the board, and then I don't know, any one of these running backs can luck into an injury, or someone can have the misfortune to have an injury, and these guys can get 15 carries in a game. Mo Ibrahim could luck into a starting role this year.
Absolutely.
Imagine if Mo Ibrahim had another 300 carries in his lifetime.
He's already had 2,000. He's
nice.
The closest person to him in carries is 85% the way there. Not even in this class.
Man, he's good too. He's little though. Do you remember his measurables? He's barely bigger than
5'10", 210.
He's supposed to be, and then he's actually 5'7", 205. Or 5'8", 205. He's tiny. He runs like he's 215. He runs big.
I like Tucker Kraft and Kuntz in the 5th in tight end premium.
I love Kuntz in the 5th. I was gonna take Kuntz at 502, and I flipped a coin.
They're possible day 2 guys too, and it's tough. I think Kyle was saying this before I hopped on because I heard the tail end of it, and you just don't know how the NFL is going to handle a deep class at any position, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's a deep running back class, do the running backs go a little later than we want them to go because everyone kind of waits? And tight ends, I wonder the same thing. We have a little top heavy stuff, but we still have a really good. I think I'm probably most excited about the tight ends in this class. It sucks to like them in a rookie draft. To Snoog's point, you get them so much cheaper. Go try to get Trey McBride right now. Even he's so much easier to get now than he would have been in a rookie draft. So I get the logic. but I still fall for it, man. I'm always chasing that tight end, especially in premium. Like I did it, right on that two turn in the middle of the second is when I'm starting to look there. If the top one or two is available, it's where I got my Pat Fryer move when people were drafting Terrace Marshall. Like it does work out, but I get it. Like, it's a tight end and you got to wait 2 or 3 years before you see something in most cases.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are coming in more league ready though. Like Fryermuth was successful as a rookie. Mark Andrews obviously is a little bit of a unicorn, but he was successful as a rookie. And this past year, we had 3 or 4 guys that at least got significant work, right?
Pitts had 1,000-yard season his rookie year.
Yeah, yeah, right. He's. I feel like
he's a wide receiver. You don't count him, do you?
He barely belongs in the tight end conversation, right?
I think most of us feel that way, but he's still a tight end.
Yeah. But even like Dolkich and Otten last year both had a few hundred yards. Like were significant. You could throw them in as a stopgate in a bye week.
Bellinger too.
Belcher, McBride. Yeah.
Yeah, and then McBride just got wallered hard.
Yeah, he did.
Everybody has seemed to believe this is like the best tight end class. So I see a lot of people saying potentially like 4 or 5 of them go first round. I think that's ridiculous, but I think Kincaid and Mayer definitely will go.
I think they definitely will.
There was like an NFL Network quote during the combine or something where it's like there's 10 tight ends with a day 2 grade or better.
Yeah, Washington is a first-round pick too. He is, but we don't know how he's going to get deployed. He could just be an extra offensive lineman and be successful at that.
Jelani Woods had some success. I think Washington's a little more polished than Woods was. Definitely,
for sure. He played against a lot better competition. Yeah, coaching. I mean, Woods was like Maryland or something, wasn't he?
Virginia.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm excited about Kincaid. I just got I get the vibes, but his gait is
starting
awesome,
to feel that way.
Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna draft him everywhere.
He runs routes like a wide receiver, but he's 255 pounds.
He's like Zach Ertz. He's so versatile. Like he's just, I don't know, his hands, his route running, his release, everything's so smooth and in check.
Yeah. You're always looking, right? There's just I was going to say you could count on one hand how many good tight ends there are in the entire league for fantasy, but you don't even need a whole hand. But Dalton Kincaid has that kind of upside for me. You know what I mean? Like he's got a shot at that. And, I don't know how. I can't give you a percentage, but he's got a shot. And that gets me excited because there's not too many of those out there.
Honestly, I think the floor for those two is like low-end tight end 1 for the next 10 years. I think we should value that probably a little bit more highly in this format than we did.
Both top 10 guys for me, for sure.
Yeah, like right off the rip. And I mean, Musgrave has that kind of potential. We just haven't really seen it except like 2 good games. So it's like
he's good. Yeah, he flashed his potential. I liked him. He stood out.
And he's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else really stand out to you guys here? And what do you guys think about Richardson at 103? Are you all doing that? Are you on board? Anyone not on board?
I didn't even realize that yet. I just see the red and I assumed it was Bryce Young.
Yeah, I'm not really.
I'm Stroud Young. 1-2 Stroud Young. I'm not gonna go Richardson there yet.
I'm taking JSN over Richardson.
Yeah, I am too.
But honestly, I'm fine with Richardson 5. I'll take him over Gibbs. I like the upside a lot, but I think JSN, Stroud, and Bryce are just way too polished, and I think they have a really firm ceiling and floor.
Right.
As to Richardson, his value could drop like Trey Lance's did so fast. So
Trey Lance is still worth the first round pick.
I'm not sure you can get that for him in most leagues today.
He was like QB 15 on Keep Trade Cut like 3 weeks ago. If you sold at the right time.
Today,
obviously Shanahan just said Sam Darnold 2 minutes ago.
But
he's not that anymore. But
Lance the right pick in a loaded class at the 103 though. You could argue he shouldn't even go top 8 now. Definitely not. Even before.
No, but he didn't his value didn't snap away. It was still there, and he started one game.
It over 2 years. I'll say this: I got hurt that year from. I have a ton of Trey Lance shares. I dispersed some of them already in decent trades that I liked, but man, that hurts if you took him over some of the other names there, like
Chase.
took him over like
Fields.
Chase, like
Yeah.
twice. It's like, yow, that hurts, man.
I definitely wanted to go Addison over Levis. Just because I knew like Levis is such an unpopular dude. And I hear you. Like it sounds like people are starting to come off that he's a top 10 pick. And obviously, again, like that winds up being the case. I'm not going to be picking him in the top 6 in a super flex, but I love Addison. I just fall in love with route runners. Like if you come in NFL ready from college and you just know it and everybody in the space knows it and every NFL person knows it, I want you on my fantasy team. I just feel like there's such a safe. This is the first round of your rookie draft. You want a safe player. You don't want a Jalen Reagor. You want a Justin Jefferson, right? Like there's so many like pitfalls at wide receiver, and I feel like Jordan Addison just isn't one of them. He's just really, really safe. That size is obviously a thing. And I know everybody brings up, Smith and says, well, Smith was that size. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The size doesn't bother me a little bit, especially like, I think he came in, was it 173? I think it was at the combine. Yeah. So you gotta bring it up. You have to address it. But at the same time, I think he's just that good. Like
luxury Deontay Johnson. First round Deontay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a first round Deontay Johnson. I think his floor is like honestly like a Darnell Mooney is like a good comp. Like I think they're both like 5'10", 170s, which is honestly like a fine floor. I mean, he had 1,000 yards.
Somebody was rattling off wide receivers over the last like 10 years, including Deshaun Jackson and all the smaller sizes. And Darnell Mooney was one. There was a few others that they don't play their size. Like I don't see a short guy or a small guy. Like Darnell Mooney, I don't when I think about him as a player, I don't think of a small dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think some of these things are, I think you have to add it into the equation, like I said, but to just focus on it and only it is probably a mistake.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about A-Chain at 2-1? Are you guys down with that?
So fast. I mean, I can't. Yeah. It's just like there's a track star at 2-1. You know what I mean? Like it's like somebody brought up. Oh my God! Now I'm blanking on the running back Sproles. Somebody brought up like that guy earlier. Like I think about like even a better Sproles, and that I think that's saying a lot. I think we forget how good Sproles was. I think A-Chain has a chance to be like just unique in that way. He's got like that unicorn, like I'm tiny, but it doesn't matter kind of thing. And it's also like it's also his toughness, right? It's not just the speed. Like he doesn't hesitate. Like he'll run you over if he can. He's still a smaller guy, but he just doesn't back down. And I feel like the combination of that, like it's one of those things that you'll never find on a stat sheet. You'll never find in a spray sheet. You'll never find it's just heart and will. And that's what I saw in Dameon Pierce last year when he lost his helmet in that game on the 20-yard line and just kept on going and wound up scoring. Like to me, like that's something you can't teach. It's just you have it or you don't have it. It's just your will is stronger than the other person's will. I think A-Chain has a little bit of that in him. And you combine that with that lightning speed, I'll take him at 2-1.
Yeah. I think he's going to average like 7-8 yards a touch in the NFL.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, we could be dead wrong too. Like the NFL falls in love with speed. That's the other reason I like him is you see A-Chain definitely as a day 2 pick. And that's another reason I like him. If the NFL does, I'm down. It's the speed thing that the NFL is so addicted to speed. That's the one thing that I think we all have to be careful of here I'm contradicting myself immediately, but in our rookie drafts, because like they like speed because it helps the other players on the team. They like speed because 1 or 2 plays is all they need, right? Where we need a lot more than that. We need consistent players. We need, points per reception. We need consistency. And, so a player like A-Chain might be chaotic, might not be consistent, might get hurt more because he is small. Like, he could be frustrating in that way, but we might all know he's really good, but those other things might be the reason that he doesn't make it.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
would say though, like of these running backs that like, third tier or whatever, he does have the differentiating trait, right? Where like all those guys after him, I mean, Evans, I don't know.
I like Kendry Miller,
Kendry size, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
What else? Stand out.
So
What about
Ron,
Hooker? Hooker 202.
Hooker 202.
I think
I
it's. I
mean,
think
you're a
it's reach.
Tennessee fan. Are the two non-Tennessee fans, are you guys down with Hooker as an early second round pick with what we
No,
know right now?
no, I'd take him late second. I just if he goes first round, late first round, or early second round, I'm fine with taking him in the second round. But I think draft capital is a big deal with Hooker. I like the prospect though. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's kind of like in that Kenny Pickett type bucket, like similar. Like they're both like 25 years old coming out. I think Hooker's more polished, a little cleaner of a prospect, more of like a baller than Pickett. But I think they're both kind of similar prospects in terms of like how they play. But
If he was a running back, the age would bother me for sure. I think at quarterback it doesn't bother me as much.
yeah,
But the other thing too is we have to we basically have to just if not for talent reasons or draft capital, it'll be because of the ACL, right? ACL.
Yeah.
He won't play really, the first year. So that's another player you have on your roster that you have to sit and wait an entire. You have to wait an entire year, and you're
I
talking
think
about.
he'll play next year.
You think he will?
I think he'll miss rookie minicamp for sure.
Yeah.
Probably most of training camp, but I think
I
he'll
thought
be
maybe
active.
the combination of like if he's a second round pick and he's behind a starter and he's hurt and you know what I mean. I just feel like there's so many ands there that we probably don't see him in 23 at all, and I feel like there's
Sure.
a stronger likelihood of that, and that makes me not want to pick him that early in the second, even in a super flex. I kind of want to. I'll tell you what would put him there for me. A team trades up to the first for the 5th round option. Then I'm picking him there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, path to starting snaps this season.
Then I'm picking him.
Yeah, and I think that's possible. Like Titans or Colts or somebody, picks him early second, late first. And now it's just like, oh, Gardner Minshew's going to play 14 games, and then Hooker's going to get the last 3, right?
Yeah, you can build that narrative pretty quickly. And if you can build it, everybody else playing fantasy is going to build it, and his value is going to be there. And he's a quarterback, and so I think if that happens, and people are talking about it, but I think we talked at the top of this pod where we basically said, hey, we might have. This might all change after the draft. It's like, yeah, this time last year, Malik Willis was up in this top 6. You know what I mean? Like, and there was more than Malik Willis. There was like 3 quarterbacks up here in the top, so.
Yeah. Corral.
Malik Willis 1.01 season.
Yeah.
Is the best.
Yeah. They were getting picked over Kenny Pickett. It was the only quarterback pick in the first round, so like, we don't know what we don't know until, is anybody going to Kansas City? I'm going. Anybody going to the draft?
I wish.
I went last year.
Used
all my travel credits.
I wish I could.
I go every year. So I just
missed. That's awesome.
I missed 2020. I missed 2020 because they canceled it. Yeah, a bunch of us usually get together. Like I usually go. I go with a couple people, and then we get like an Airbnb, and then usually then you just like start hitting up Twitter, and you see like everybody else who's going. It's kind of like the expo, except at the draft.
Right.
Like everybody that on Twitter, and you only know them by their Twitter handle. Is like, yo, what's up?
What's up?
Just looking at a crowd, like maybe that's it.
One thing that I would want to actually touch base on is kind of like just understanding the board here in like that second, third round. So this is like kind of knowing your draft, kind of knowing like who you like better than others, and kind of coming out on top of your rookie draft, winning your draft, right? So a lot of people have like tiers, and like guys like maybe Chain, Kedre Miller, Zach Evans, even Tank Bigsby, all tiered up. You look at the value difference of Chain and Bigsby. If you have those guys, say I have them like 1 or 2 spots apart. If I could trade the 201, you could probably easily get 2 late seconds for the 201. So I'm turning my RB7 into my RB8 and 9 with the deal of just moving back from the 201. So I think that's what everybody listening should focus on doing, is kind of just knowing your draft, knowing your board, knowing your guys, and just taking advantage of other people wanting to move up for guys they are higher on than you are. Like Chain, Hooker, and Hyatt here. I'm not high on any of those guys as much as others. So I would take Miller, Evans, Bigsby, Kincaid, Mayer, even Tucker, even Marvin Mims over all those guys. Maybe not Chain, but over the other 2. So I think that's just taking advantage. I could get like the 301 and the 210 easily for the 201 and probably more on top with how people like to move up. So that's just taking advantage of the board and winning your draft in a nutshell.
Well, I like that you added like the whole list of players after that you liked, right? Like, because there's a chance that Bigsby goes 2-1 and A Chain's down there in the late second. So it's hard to say, but there was like 5 or 6 players down there in the late second. When you know that you have multiple players, it's a no brainer. Yeah, I think there's a part of you sometimes that would love the decision made for you, right? So it's like, well, I kind of like these guys about the same, and that's what tiers are all about. So like, you make the decision, I'll handle the leftovers, and then your guy might even be there, the one that you wanted originally, right?
Yeah.
But then you got that extra pick. So no, I love that. It's actually great that you brought up this board in particular for that reason, because I think Bigsby and A-Chain are close on a lot of people's boards, and there's almost an entire round difference in this mock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see, trading back from 201 for a third and a mid-second. I mean, I'd love to add Tillman or Mims, to my running back, or a 2024 second and a later second, I guess would be what I would be trying to do. But I love those. Even McBride and Gray. And again, I think this will solidify, right, a lot after the draft, but that tier of guys, I don't think they're all going to fall completely off the map. I think you're still going to have some of that apparent depth to play with. So I love that move.
I agree.
Yeah, so I have Kendre definitely above A-Chain here. So I know I've actually tried to move up in drafts already from like the 206, 205 spot to like the 201, 202, because I have a lot of leagues where I did the 1 year punt. So I have like 201, 202, 203. And I'm trying to move up from like 207 to 204. And people are asking me for like a 24 second or a third. So if I'm moving back from 201, I know for sure I could probably get the 204 and like the 212 or the 301. And if I'm turning, I like A-Chain, but if I'm turning A-Chain or Hendon Hooker into Kendre Miller and Marvin Mims, that's a no-brainer for me all day.
Yeah, I love it.
And then you're trading yourself into that more prototypical size for the running back to 5'11", 215 pounds. Yeah, give me some of that.
I like what you said about A-Chain though, because I think he is like a phenomenal talent. The only thing I'm worried about is he going to get that role? And I'm fine with being wrong if he does by not taking him in the first round. But I'm honestly fine with taking him like in the 201 to 207 range. I won't take him 201, but like in that range is fine with me because I think he is a phenomenal talent. I think him and Deuce Vaughn are like the two outliers in this class that I could see having a role no matter what, just because of how talented they are.
Deuce at 4.4.
That's a value.
That's awesome.
That's a value.
I think there's a crazy value in the third and the fourth round here right now. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys are going to get drafted higher.
Can you just go back to college? He was fun to watch in college. Because I know he'll be successful there. Let's play another year of college.
I like the Tajay Spears dip. I'll draft him all day in the third round. I'm not as high on him as others. Film-wise, I thought his film was great, but he's not very durable. I know he already has like 2 torn ACLs, which is why he was a fourth-year player. He's a G5 running back, but he has incredible burst and vision, and he's just a really good pure runner. And he's a playmaker, but he is undersized. I think he has like a 28 BMI. He's like 5'10", 201. But if I can take a shot on him in like the early third, mid third, I'll do that all day, even the late second. But
I think you got to be careful film scouting G5 guys too, right? Because everyone looks faster when there's a slower guy next to them. Everyone looks stronger when the guy they're hitting is a future grocery bagger and not a future NFL player.
He looked good at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he did. He's a good player, honestly, but definitely what Eric said, it's tough with the G5 stuff because there's such a small hit, right? Like Sky Moore, definitely that transition was definitely a little bit of a struggle for him.
It really was.
But
I honestly think the Senior Bowl is the same thing too, right?
Do you really?
Most of the best players come out early. They don't make it to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah,
it's kind of the best of the rest, right? I'm not knocking it. The event's awesome.
Fair enough.
And the NFL loves it, right? Like those guys, like definitely.
Yep.
Hit a draft capital rocket booster if they shine in those games. But I do think that I don't know how many prospects do we wind up having be, successful fantasy careers coming out of there. 1 or 2 guys a year, I'd
Yeah.
say, get your Cooper Cups. But, who were the big Senior Bowl guys last year?
Christian Watson. Romeo
Christian
Dubs,
Watson.
too, right? Both of them were, I thought.
Yeah.
Damian Pierce,
Yeah.
I think, was part of that.
But yeah,
He
like
had a good Senior Bowl.
Eric, it's tough, but like I think if there's any position that you can get away with it at, it's the running back, because like you had guys like Kareem Hunt. Is Toledo even considered G5? It might not be, but then you have like Aaron Jones. Eckler was from where? Where was Eckler from? I think
I don't
guys
even
were all
remember.
I think those were all G5.
Western Colorado State.
Yeah, so like those guys kind of got away with it. I think running back, if anything, is kind of. I think wide out quarterback, it's definitely a no go for me. But
last year's Senior Bowl wide receiver class had like Alec Pierce, Jahan Dotson, Christian Watson, Khalil Shakur.
that was also a really good wide receiver class, depth wise too, though. But
All right, I'm wrong.
Mitchell.
Just say I'm wrong.
Elijah Mitchell,
You're wrong.
There's some
That was
guys.
only on the national team. I'm not even on the
Elijah
American
Mitchell,
team.
5 running back too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody was talking about, and it did look like teleportation at times, was Spears' lateral quickness.
it's crazy.
Like just that side to side, like that just felt like, and again, could be Senior Bowl, Eric, to your point, but it looks special, that lateral quickness, and I feel like that could absolutely help him in the NFL. And he's another one of those dudes that I keep seeing on day 2 in these NFL mocks. Like I keep seeing him there. So it's like a 3rd round rookie pick. Like it just feels like a no-brainer there for me. I just did a mock just for fun. I wanted to hadn't done one in a little minute, and I knew we were doing tonight, and I got him at 212, and I was happy. I was like, okay, 212, yep, I'll take him there.
Yeah, Mike, I have a question.
What's up?
Sorry, you can continue.
I was gonna say he's usually a 2nd round pick still. I think like end of the 2nd. I've seen him.
Nice value there, whoever EGAM is.
But what I was gonna say, Mike, was I know. So you mentioned you're a big Kendre guy. Where are you seeing him drafted, and where do you think he'll get drafted in the NFL draft? Because I know like the combine and his pro days tomorrow. I don't know if you know anything that I don't know about.
No, I definitely don't. Somebody that Jason DiRienzo. I don't know if you guys know him. He and I are doing a rookie profile in about a week on Kendre Miller. So I've done all my homework on him. I've watched some film, and he's given me vibes of like, I keep bringing up Damian Pierce. So I don't want to do it again, but like he's given me vibes where I feel like he's becoming one of my safer running backs in this area. And I do tend to lean safe. Like I tend not to be super risky in rookie drafts. I've done that before. I used to go after analytics hardcore, and that's why Rager's on my teams, and you know what I mean? So like I've leaned more towards like, you know what, we got to get out of this Twitter sphere little world we're in and get outside that, listen to more NFL stuff. And Kendre Miller just seems to be in that world and more so. And I think Dynasty people are wising up to him, or have been, to be honest, but it's a mix of right size for me. I think you said he was small, right?
No, he's 5'10" to 15.
Oh yeah, we just talked about that. Yeah, So he's the right size for me, which back in this again, when you start getting off the big guys, I start to want the size of my running back to be like more prototypical, especially running back. That's the concern with these smaller dudes, is they become good for NFL teams, but not for our fantasy teams.
Yeah.
You know, and that could be why Tajay Spears is where he is in NFL drafts. People are like, wow, yeah, what a great complimentary piece. As soon as we hear that, we're off. You know, all right, well, I'll draft him in the 3rd round. So Kendre Miller just feels more like a guy that could handle the full role to me, where like some of these other players that we're in love with for one aspect of their game or another, Kendre Miller just seems more of a whole player to me than some of the others.
I 100% agree.
He's one of my favorite rushers in the class. Like, and he's a tackle breaking machine. Dudes bounce off of him, and I love that quality. Sometimes it's like, is he seeking out contact where he doesn't need to? Like, could he have missed guys? But like, I don't care, man. He's a steamroller. I love Kendre. And my only fear about him is that I have not seen him mocked on day 2 at all yet. But maybe we're not looking at the same mocks.
Did on
As soon as I
Walker.
see him land, round 3, boom, I'm taking him at like 112, 201 every time.
You got
I
an
saw him
ideal.
on 2 day 2 drafts.
Okay.
Some 3rd round Cowboys, which would be phenomenal spot because he'd just fire up the red zone touches. And I also saw him to the Bears in the 3rd. I think it was early 3rd. I think they might have been early 3rd, which is another phenomenal spot because I think he's a much better player than Khalil Herbert is. But Kendra is just very, like what you said, Mike, touching back on that. He's just very well-rounded as a player. And for a class that doesn't have many workhorse-sized running backs, I think he's going to stand out to NFL teams. And if he doesn't go day 2, I think I might quit fantasy because I think NFL teams are just missing out on a phenomenal talent. Maybe like a Ramondre Stevenson type player. So
he's going to run like a 4.47 tomorrow.
I hope he runs. I haven't found anything if he's going to test or not. I hope he does. I even DM'd him on Instagram. So
hit him up. Slide in there, brother.
Nice.
All right. I don't want to hold everyone hostage. Anyone else have any final parting shots on this? Anything that really you feel like you want to talk about?
I was looking to see if there's something else I could pull off here, but this was a ton of fun, Eric. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, man, I love having you as always. We'll have to get you on, hopefully with some more frequency. And,
sounds good.
Snoog, it was awesome having you on, man. And Snoog's gonna hop on for a quarterback show, I think, this weekend.
Nice.
So that'll be pretty exciting. We got him, and then we got Bo McBrayer on as well. Snoog, I don't know if you know him, but he is a beast. He is really sharp. Film guy. He's awesome. Kyle, what would I do without you? You gotta hang the poster.
Probably pick Tyler Scott in the 4th round. Probably would have.
Nice.
All right, guys. I appreciate the heck out of you. Anyone that made it to the end of this jam, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following all of these guys on Twitter. Snoog's Twitter handle's not on there, but it is in the link that you found this on. And definitely make sure you follow Rookie Fever, subscribe to their podcast. It is phenomenal content on rookies all year round. And, not something you want to miss. So with that, we'll be back with quarterback content this weekend, which is really exciting. And then Kyle and I are going to start delving back into our wheelhouse of college football all year, getting the C2C and Devy content out there before anyone else does. So I hope everyone has some happy drafting. Go get them.